And we are good to go. Hello, Amy Jackson of Sweetgrass
Hello.
Counseling.
Yes.
Hi,
Hi.
everyone. I am Jen Robinson, the editor-in-chief of Peaceful Living Wellness Magazine, and I am really delighted to be hosting an interview today with one of our expert contributors who is also becoming a dear friend of mine because we are lucky enough to live in the same area. Our contributors on Peaceful Living Wellness are all over the United States, and actually we're working on Canada too. So it is a real treasure for me to live in the same place as one of our contributors. That said, we are still about 45 minutes apart, so we are on Zoom in
Well, but yeah, it's been a drive.
respective houses. But she's also just an amazing person with a passion for helping people. And so, Amy, I would love for you to introduce yourself and talk a little bit about what that passion is in terms of your profession and what you do in the world.
Absolutely. So thank you very much for having me. I am Amy Jackson. I am a licensed professional counselor, and I specialize in working with moms. So a lot of my moms are coming to me after they have a baby. They might have some issues adjusting to life with the newborn, maybe have some postpartum depression, postpartum anxiety issues. And we kind of work at, what is areas of your life you want to focus on and change, and how can I support and bring your community together?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, as we've been talking about on these interviews, Peaceful Living Wellness, you see it on the website, is peaceful living for real life. And Amy really gets into the nitty gritty of real life with moms who are suffering from postpartum depression. But Amy, you also help moms who have gone through miscarriage and have postpartum depression from miscarriage. You help moms who are suffering with just parenting in general. So tell us a little bit about your story and why you are so passionate about this.
Absolutely. So I got into this field probably because of my personal history. My husband and I lost a baby when I was 22 weeks pregnant, and I spiraled completely out of control. I was finishing up my graduate degree, and I was going for counseling, and well, I can just counsel myself and do therapy myself and kind of work through all this on my own. And no, it was a rough, probably about 2 to 3 years where it was just, I thought I was doing okay, but I really wasn't. And it wasn't until I got in and got the counseling that I needed before things started to change. And so that's kind of one of the reasons I love to work with moms, especially moms who've gone through a loss, to be that help, be that support that I didn't have or that I wasn't willing to accept when I needed it.
That is so beautiful. And I want to applaud you. Of course, being a counselor, you know that having that support of counseling or coaching or support group is so important.
Absolutely.
As a mindfulness and mindset coach and somebody who works with women with stress, I actually guest host in a lot of different groups. And I go in, especially in coaching groups with other coaches, and we talk about how important it is for us to be helping each other.
Yeah.
So, there's a quote out there. I don't remember who said it, but it's from an athlete who said, everybody needs a coach. And I want to extend that on to everybody needs a coach or a counselor, somebody who is trained to help support you, because that's what it is all about.
Right.
Now, but that happened during your graduate training.
Yes.
So you had already decided to go into this field.
Yes.
And what was it about becoming a counselor that really drew you into the field?
So I was one of those, I think it was maybe a high school. It's like, I don't know really what I wanted to do. I was looking at college programs, and I knew I wanted to work with people in some way, but I didn't know what that meant. So I think I started with being a physician's assistant. Organic chem was just way beyond my realm of comprehension. No. And so I fell in love with the psychology program. I fell in love with trying to figure out what makes humans do what they do, and the behavior and the thoughts. And so after I graduated with my bachelor's, went on to master's because wanted to still work with people in some way, even if it wasn't physician assistant, but still working with them in the counseling guard.
Yeah. So you are, and I can speak for this from personal experience. She is just such a giving person. She just wants to support and help other people, which is again why I'm so lucky to have her as part of our contributing author group, because her articles that she posts on Peaceful Living Wellness are all so giving and compassionate. And I really hope that you guys will jump in and read them, because they will just help you to feel good. They will also help you to laugh, because she calls her dog a trash panda.
She's an absolute trash panda.
Okay, so funny story. You know, I'm from the West and we are in the South now. I did not know that that is a Southern term for raccoons.
Oh, it is. Yeah, I knew it was a raccoon because like they just dig in the trash and all this, and this is her personality.
I have never heard that. I'm like, oh, Lindsay Bobola, who's one of our other contributors, I'll be interviewing her soon. She's the one who's like, oh, does she own a raccoon? I'm like, no, so she calls her dog. So for those of you who are not from the South, trash panda means raccoon. So she asked me, she goes, do you guys not have raccoons in California? And I'm like, no, we do. And she said, well, what do you call them? And I said, we call them raccoons. It is something absolutely charming about Southern culture that Southerners have these names for all sorts of different things. I love it. And I just get kind of giddy and giggly when I hear these different things. Skunk is a polecat.
Yes. That one's made me figure out, like, wait, where did that one come from? Because I'm from the North originally, and it's like, moving here, it's like all the different kind of just languages, like, I don't know what you mean, but yeah, sure, I'll smile and nod and I'll just go with it.
Yeah. If somebody said polecat to me, I'd be like, what?
Okay, yeah, sure.
Why not? Anyway, we digress into our region. It is a fabulous region. I do have to say that. It is very quirky in a lot of ways too. All right, so what gets you going in the morning?
Lots of coffee. And knowing that I can make a difference in someone's life. I know I can't be everything for everybody,
right?
But I am very selective with who I bring on as clients. And I want to make sure that I can do great work with them. And so instead of accepting everyone who calls me and, oh yeah, I need a counselor, or my kid needs a counselor, I'm going to be pretty picky about my assessments and whether or not I even agree to bring you on as a client, because I want to make sure that we're not wasting time and money and that there's not someone who's a better fit. Yeah. And so because I am so selective, I know that we're going to do good work together. And in case we don't work well together, I can refer you to somebody who can. And so bottom line is helping as many people, whether that is working directly with me or connecting them to work with someone else, would be a better fit.
And that is something that I think, especially in the coaching field, a lot of people don't do. They don't go into it saying, I want to make sure that the person I'm talking to is a good fit, that this person is really going to benefit from me as a coach. Counselors, therapists are a little bit better about that. And I learned from them, my friends who are therapists, but also from being in therapy myself, that I can be that way with my coaching clients. And that's when we really get the most progress. That's where the real transformation happens. And so I love that you do that. And because again, I know a lot of people don't, and we don't want, Amy doesn't want you guys wasting your money. So if you are meeting with a coach or you are meeting with a therapist and they're not going through that process of making sure it's a good fit,
right,
that's probably not going to be the best fit for you.
Sure.
And we want to make sure that everybody is getting the most out of their time and their money. So I'm really glad you said that. Thank you for putting that out there.
And one thing that I'm very guarded with my clients. Like, I know what it's like to feel this way. I know kind of the symptoms, some of the warning signs. Yeah. And one of the big things is the intrusive thoughts. And moms are really scared to sometimes admit that they have scary visions of maybe falling down the stairs while they're holding their baby.
Yeah.
Or maybe they're so sleep deprived that when they're warming up a baby's bottle, they're scared that they're going to put the baby in the microwave. And a lot of moms are not going to admit that they're having these visions or these thoughts, where someone who may not be trained with postpartum intrusive thoughts will be calling family services and having mom committed to the psych ward. And that's the absolute last thing that moms need in that moment in time. So it's finding someone who has specific training and does really great work. Because where I can really work with mom in maybe 8 or 10 sessions, maybe someone who does not have this training might be 5 or 6, 7 months. And you're just prolonging the treatment and prolong the suffering.
Well, and we've had such a misunderstanding for so long in our society about postpartum depression and about not only these thoughts of that, oh, something might happen, I might accidentally harm my baby, but women really having suicidal ideation as well. And being afraid to talk about that. That's why it is so important to have somebody like you who is trained in postpartum in particular, because not everybody is. And again, if somebody gets social services involved, that is going to make things absolutely, unless social services really need to be involved, it's going to make things absolutely worse for that woman who is suffering so much already and that entire family. So
and it's recognizing, okay, here are the steps that we need to take, make sure everybody's on board, make sure mom is safe, baby's safe. And I know those resources to call. I know kind of the steps that I need to take if it is that point. But just because you might feel, overwhelmed or even frustrated with a baby does not mean you have postpartum psychosis and you're not trying to actively harm yourself or harm the baby. I think that's what a lot of people kind of think of with postpartum depression is, oh, well, this person's scared that I'm going to harm my baby or harm myself. And 98% of the time, that is absolutely not the case.
And they suffer in silence.
Absolutely. Yeah, because they're scared. They're scared of what's going to happen, scared of what people might think, and scared that no one else has gone through this. And that's absolutely not the case. Yeah. 1 in 5 are going to need some kind of additional support. So if 5 women in your life, one of those women might need some additional support as far as a counselor or a therapist.
I had postpartum after both of my births. Absolutely. Yeah. And I'm already prone to anxiety and depression, which is why I'm a stress management coach. But even with my tools and techniques, I needed extra support. I needed extra help because it is very scary. Now, again, this was 16 years ago, so people are not necessarily as open about it. We're not. But that's why it's so important what you're doing and that you're getting out and talking about it. Because for women like you and me and all of these other 1 in 5 women out there, if we don't talk about it, they suffer in silence.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yes. So let's take a turn for a little bit more fun, I think.
Sure. Yes.
It's my term, peaceful living.
There you go.
I think peaceful living is really fun. When I'm living peacefully, I'm having a lot of fun. Yes. When I am living in stress, it is no fun at all. At all. And then I want to go around wanting to punch people in the nose.
Yes. Absolutely.
So that's why it is very important for me to be in peaceful living, because I don't want to go around wanting to punch people in the nose. That's a good thing. What does peaceful living mean to you?
So I'm going to go back to, I'm not wanting to feel stress. I'm not wanting to feel like I want to punch someone in the nose. It's knowing that even if you do feel that way, it's okay. It's okay to be stressed. It's okay to feel frustrated. And knowing that when you do have those thoughts, those feelings, it's not permanent. Yeah. So just like we're not always going to be guaranteed to have smooth sailing, we're also not guaranteed to have rainbows and butterflies and glitter sparkly things. But it's recognizing, what can I do to make my life easier even if there is stress going on all around me.
Yeah.
And so looking at if you are fighting with your kids or fighting with your husband, what role do I have in this? And do I want to go back through the cycle that leads me to unhappiness, or is there something that I can change that's in line with my values?
Yeah.
And so even if we are disagreeing, we don't have to disagree forever.
One of the things you've talked to me about in the past is how important you think it is for people to live according to their values.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit more about that.
So I love to do values work. That's probably one of the first things I do with most of my clients is I look at what is important to you
Yeah.
and what do you want your life to be about. And so it's really kind of going back to the individual treatment of how do you want to live your life. So if you look back on your life when you're 80 years old, this is what I stood for. So whether it was community involvement or kindness, what specific things can you do, and what examples of activities would you be doing to be in line with those values?
Yeah.
So one of my values right now is community. And so how can I make my community better? And even though I can't be everything for all my clients, I network with so many people around that in case someone needs a coach or needs a yoga class, maybe they need a birth doula or a support group, I can get them connected to somebody in their community who does amazing work with them.
And to do that, everyone, you need to subscribe to Amy's YouTube channel. We will put that in the comments. And it is, of course, on peacefullivingwellness.com under our experts tab. You can find that on our authors page, our experts. Because I know if you are maybe over in Kansas watching this right now on Peaceful Living Wellness's YouTube channel, you may be thinking, well, they're in the South. She's not going to have anything for me. But there are so many of us who do things online. I work with women all over the United States and Canada because as a coach, I can work outside of state lines. We have all sorts of people. Amy has all sorts of people. In fact, some of our birth doulas, actually, they work over the internet.
Yeah.
What? I know. I love it. It's so cool. So she has lots of resources that can take you anywhere. Don't say, oh, well, I'm not in Charleston, South Carolina, so I'm not interested. There's great stuff on there for all of you. All right. What is the number one thing you wish people to know about wellness?
What is the one thing? So giving yourself permission to feel. Feel the good things, feel the bad things, feel the icky things. I think I just had a conversation with somebody last night about I just want to be numb. I don't want to feel the negative experiences that come with things.
Yeah.
But I'm going to challenge that thought because if you don't want to feel the bad, are you really able to experience the good?
Yeah.
And so just allow yourself to be aware of those feelings, and honoring them and just recognizing that, even if things are not going right for me, it's not always going to be this way.
Yeah, that is so profound. One of the best pieces of advice that was ever given to me, and this was by my dissertation chair during my PhD program. I was very upset over not passing one question on an exam, one of my comprehensive exams. I had to pass two, and one of them I passed with honors. I was like, right. And he said, you know what? This too shall pass.
It will.
And I tell myself that all the time.
Yeah.
Now, I do have a question, though. Do you think, as a trained therapist, that if people are refusing to be in the negative, do they tend to press it down and it's going to come up anyway?
Yes. Absolutely. Somehow it's going to come up.
That's what we learn in mindfulness training too.
Yes.
But I always like to see what other people's experiences with that.
Yeah.
So how do you see that coming up with other people?
I see a lot of it come up as anxiety. So we see a lot of the perfectionists get really hard on themselves and they have, I have to meet this certain goal, or they compare themselves to someone on social media and they just can't live up to those expectations.
Compare and despair.
And so what they do is that anxiety, they kind of stuff it down, and it's going to come out somehow. So whether that is blowing up at their husband or their kids,
Right.
There's going to be some repercussions in some way. So it's honoring that feeling that, this is not going the way I wanted it to, recognizing some of those patterns that may not be completely productive and trying to tie those two together.
Great. That is such great advice. Thank you so much for that. Last question is the really fun question.
Yes.
Okay, do you have a guilty pleasure that
Yes.
is maybe not so wellness oriented?
Yes. I love to end my night with some reality TV, some dark chocolate, and even throwing in some red wine.
All at the same time.
Yes. All together sometimes.
Yeah.
So I love a good Cabernet, some dark chocolate, and you can definitely find me watching some Real Housewives or some TLC shows. I mean, I am all about it. So
I
yes.
love it. The veg out at the end of the day.
Yes, absolutely.
I love it. All right, you guys. Well, this one was a little bit longer, but I wanted to spend a little bit more time because we were talking about some really sensitive topics, and because I believe that the education that needs to happen about postpartum depression and what Amy has to offer with that is worth spending a little bit of extra time. So thank you if you made it all the way through this interview. And again, peaceful living wellness is all about peaceful living in real life. So you may be hearing my dog hacking up a hairball behind us. You may have heard the other dog whining at the back door. It's okay for your life to be real. It's okay for it to be a little messy. You see so much on YouTube and Instagram that is just, curated to look a certain way. We don't do that at Peaceful Living Wellness. We're about being real. We're about saying, you know what? You're great the way you are. So thanks again for tuning in, guys. Join us on the magazine, peacefullivingwellness.com, and really, please read some of Amy's articles. They are for the heart. Thanks again, Amy. And I hope you have a great rest of your day.
You too. Thanks for having me.
Thanks. You're welcome.